Theatrical Shenanigans with
Naomi Westerman.
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Theatrical Shenanigans. As it's been for some time now, I am your host, Rachel Feeney Williams, reaching out from Devon with a new audio play to hear and a new guest to chat to. So let's meet them, shall we? My guest today is a UK-based playwright, screenwriter, anthropologist, activist, author and public speaker. She's been working as a playwright primarily for the past few years, but she had her first non-fiction book publication entitled The Happy Death Club in May 2024. She's also currently working on a second non-fiction book and her first novel. And if all that wasn't enough, she's also the founder and co-artistic director of Little But Fierce Theatre, a fringe theatre company created by and for female and non-binary creatives. It's a thrill to have her here. Welcome, Naomi Westerman.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's an absolute thrill to have you here. So, as always, we start at the very beginning. How did you get your start in the arts world?
Completely by luck, actually. I was going down a completely different career path, which was in science, basically. So my educational background is entirely in science,
Oh, wow.
but I'd always loved books. I'd always loved writing. And I discovered theatre at university and became completely obsessed with it and really desperately wanted to be part of the theatre world. So I kind of went down a path of maybe thinking about acting for a little while, kind of on an amateur level and then slightly on a professional level, because I thought, without any sort of academic background in, theatre or English, something like writing wouldn't be an option for me. And then that very obviously the acting wasn't the right choice. So I kind of wasn't really thinking about a career in theatre kind of professionally. And that made me very unhappy because I loved it so much. And I was just going down like a very, very kind of science-based career path. And then when I was doing my PhD, I had this very random experience where a close friend of mine who was an actor had a personal experience that was very directly linked to what I was writing about as an academic.
Mm.
And she asked me to collaborate on a play with her to use my academic background to write a play for her to perform in as an actor so that she could talk about her personal experiences
Mm.
that were basically mental health related. And then I started, sort of working on a play and kind of researching um, and found that theatre was a really wonderful vehicle to be able to talk about a lot of the issues that I was really passionate about, that academia or scientific research didn't really facilitate because the focus of academia is incredibly narrow. So I started working on this play, and then my friend basically found it too triggering to be able to go ahead, so she chose to remove herself.
Mm.
And I was like, "Are you okay with me to continue, working on this play by myself?" And she was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I just kind of wrote this one act play about women in a psychiatric hospital, sent it randomly to a local theatre because I didn't really know, I'd never met a playwright. I didn't really know what a playwright was.
Mm.
I didn't know what you do with plays. So I just randomly sent it to a local theatre and they kind of messaged, they left me a voicemail a couple of months later being like, "We love your play. We're going to put it on. We're going to pay you 500 quid." And I was like, "Oh, wow, being a playwright's easy. And making money as a playwright, super easy." So it went on at this local theatre, did horrendously badly. The audience hated it. It
Oh.
was just like a case of like completely the wrong audience. It's like a very gritty play about like mental illness and suicide and like lesbianism and drug abuse. It just wasn't like really appropriate programming. But I self-funded to do a one-off showcase performance in London at the Colbeck Theatre because they do a thing called Theatre in the Pound where you can kind of showcase something very cheaply.
Mm.
um Emailed, like spent like a day, finding email addresses for every single theatre in London, did, huge mail out, and I don't know, maybe it just hit some zeitgeist or something because we sold out, like the whole theatre was just completely rammed.
Mm.
And I got lots and lots of attention after that. And then I developed the play a bit more. I developed it through the Criterion Playwriting program, then went to the Arcola, um, and did a lot more development at the Arcola. And I've kind of worked nonstop as a playwright ever since. I've had a very, very smooth, inexplicable pathway.
It's a very rare combination of the arts and science, I have to say.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Yeah.
And you come with a vast list of titles as well. Do you have a kind of preferred hat, or is it the equal labor of love, or is it just all about the playwriting for you?
I think it is probably just about the playwriting. I think it's about what stories really capture your imagination.
Mm,
Um, and I've had a very unusual career in that with the exception of a couple of community plays, I've pretty much only done just very, very traditional straight plays, um, new writing, and plays that are, pretty much purely the product of my imagination.
mm,
I haven't actually written an adaptation. I
mm.
haven't really I mean, I've done some collaborative theatre, but it's mostly just been me. So I'm kind of moving into adaptation right now, which is a really interesting thing to explore.
Mm.
I've done a little bit in verbatim as well, but it's kind of just been me kind of going, I'm just going to make up a story. Yeah, so I'm really interested in looking at kind of things like, things that are based on true stories. I have two plays in development at the moment. One is based on a real life event,
Mm.
and the other one potentially is an adaptation that we're kind of figuring out the rights for right now. So I'm really interested to do that.
Mm. But you've already touched on this a little bit. As a playwright, do you have any preferred subjects you'd like to write about, or genres you choose to write in, or is it just a little bit of everything?
I quite like doing a little bit of everything. There are certainly themes that I come back to. I write a lot about mental health. I write a lot about death. I write a lot about the female experience in a very kind of intersectional way. And I like writing stories about women whose stories are not often told on theatre.
Mm.
I would love to write more comedy. I feel like I am quite good at writing comedy because I really enjoy writing comedy.
Mm.
And it feels like comedy is very commercial, but because like the stuff like the themes I write about tend to be quite dark, it's kind of figuring out how to kind of merge those two things. Like is
Yeah.
it possible to do kind of comedy about, serious subjects? I think absolutely it is.
Mm.
It's just figuring out the angle. So yeah, I think comedy is probably my preferred genre to write in.
Mm. And if all of that wasn't enough, you also co-founded a theatre company. What made you decide that was a mad road you wanted to go down?
Well, that was actually, I mean, that was kind of before I started playwriting when I was doing my master's degree and I was sort of doing a bit of acting and kind of wondering why I wasn't happy doing it and kind of wondering like, is it normal to find like auditioning totally humiliating? And yes,
Mm.
it is, unfortunately. But I just found as a female presenting person, like the kind of roles that you get to audition for are really miserable a lot of the
Mm.
time. And I just didn't love that. So I just kind of had this idea of just founding like an all-female theatre company, just to make the kind of work that I wanted to see and to
Mm.
give like women really interesting roles. And then the function of the company has kind of evolved quite a bit over time. Originally, it started out as like a sort of Shakespeare company and a company doing like sort of feminist versions or kind of female-led versions of classics.
Mm.
So the first thing we did was a production of A Christmas Carol, actually, that
Ooh.
we randomly did in like partnership with the Royal Shakespeare Company, which is very cool.
Mhm.
Um, and then gradually it kind of evolved to do new writing because that was where my focus was. And then later developed a much stronger focus for prioritizing, promoting disabled and neurodivergent artists. And then obviously, I think my understanding of things around gender identity has really evolved as well.
Mm.
So it was like very much framed as like an all-female theatre company. And now the framing is more like marginalized gender, like we're very open to like non-binary people and,
Mm.
sort of trans women, obviously. Um, which is not something that I would necessarily have been aware of. I started it in like 2014, so that was a really
Mm.
long time ago. But yeah, it was really cool. Like we wound up doing a lot of really cool stuff and kind of doing work in East Africa and doing work in kind of Chile and stuff like
Wow.
that. And that was a really interesting thing to be able to do.
And lastly, just before we hear our play for this episode, do you have a standout moment from your time in the world of theatre that makes you think, yeah, this is why I do this?
Um, my very first press night of my first like sort of big thing that I did, or my first like 4-week run,
Mm.
which was being a co-writer on James Graham's sketching.
Mm.
And I think purely because it was this really crazy thing where we had 7 co-writers collaborating together. And everyone kind of went, oh my God, that must have been a nightmare, like seven egos. And it wasn't. It was so great. It was just like the nicest thing in the world. And like we all got along really well. There was no like fighting. There was no like, ego or like arguing over anything. And just like the experience of like being able to go through press night, which is horrible.
Yeah.
No, it's awful. Like you think it's going to be amazing, and you don't. Like I mean, I had my play Poppy had a 4 week run earlier this year, and I just cried like the whole press night. You think it's going to be great, and it's just awful. But sketching actually did like sketching's press night is probably like the best night of my life, and it was just because of that amazing like bond that we all had as a group to be able to kind of go through that together.
So now we move on to our playwright and play for this episode. Brent Alles is a Wyoming-based playwright and the author of numerous full-length and one-act plays. While this is his first time being a featured playwright on Theatrical Shenanigans, he did join us back in December 2024 as a panellist on the very last episode of The Panel Presents. He then returned in March 2025 to discuss F.J. Hartland's play, If You Say So. Brent's play today is entitled The Reckoning Room and was written in response to a prompt from the Facing February Playwriting Challenge in February 2025. The prompt was guilt and regret, and to describe the play, Brent simply says, 5 strangers wake up in a strange room filled with regrets. There will be a reckoning. Theatrical Shenanigans presents The Reckoning Room by Brent Alles.
What the? Where are we?
What the hell is this place? Who the hell are you people?
Last thing I remember, I was in the grocery store. Then I don't know.
Same here. I was having a drink at the bar and then nothing.
I guess we can all agree that we have no memory of how we got here, right?
Right.
I suppose so.
Righto.
And I make 5.
Look! A door!
Don't hurt yourself, honey. I'll try when my head stops spinning here in a second.
Oh, the big strong man gonna save us all?
I suppose if you and that other frail there want to bust your shoulders, darling, be my guest.
I ain't your darling.
No, I suppose you're not.
This seems like some kind of waiting room.
Yeah, it looks like that. What are we waiting for?
Welcome. You're in the Reckoning Room, a place where people must confront and state their deepest regret before they can move on.
Move on? To what?
Look, quit playing games, whoever you are. I will fucking sue you for all you're worth.
10 minutes, starting now.
Oh my God! Oh my God! What's going to happen when the clock hits 0?
I don't know. The quarter's over?
This isn't funny. They said we had to confront our deepest regrets before we can move on. So if we don't move on, they're going to kill us? Oh, God!
I would say that anyone willing to drug 5 total strangers probably has nefarious plans in mind. I mean, I don't think they're running the world's worst dating service, right?
You're really not my type.
Thanks.
Look, maybe it's nothing. Maybe they want us to crack, to confess. Do we all have something to confess?
I certainly don't.
Me either.
I got nothing to hide.
What?
Nothing to say?
I mean, no. No, I don't.
Look, if we're all facing impending doom, maybe we should at least share our names with each other. I'd hate to die with a bunch of nameless people watching.
Real hopeful there. Real hopeful. Anyway, I'm Liam.
Dante.
Jonas.
Like the brothers?
Ha ha.
And I'm Margot. You?
Nadine.
All right. At least now we're on a first-name basis. So now what? We talk about what we regret?
Like I said, nothing to hide. No regrets.
You got that on a tattoo somewhere? Probably spelled regrets, and you just said fuck it.
I'm gonna tattoo my fist on your face if you don't shut up.
Look, this is getting us nowhere. Everybody's got to have some regrets, right? I mean, we're only human.
Well, that's true. I mean, I'll go first. I really got nothing to hide, but mine's easy. I'm in my 60s. I know I look a lot older than that, but that's the point. I worked all my life to give my daughter a better future, but it was all for nothing.
So you wish you had more time with her? Isn't she around anymore?
Yes, I do. And no, she's not.
Does that mean she's,
I'm done talking. I've expressed my regret. You hear that? I've expressed it. 1 down, 4 to go.
All right. My girlfriend. We had a fight the night she died. My last words to her were cruel. Then the next morning I learned. I learned she was gone. I never got to take those cruel words back, to apologize.
Jesus. That's rough.
Well, 2 down, 3 to go.
This is ridiculous. Margot, I'm sorry you didn't get enough mommy time with dear old daughter. And Liam, I'm sorry you never got to say I love you one last time to that girl of yours. But that shouldn't mean that I'm trapped in a room with 4 people I don't even know waiting on... The hell if I know.
I know who you are.
What? How the hell you know me? I've never seen you before in my life.
I know your face. I know who you write for.
I don't write for them anymore.
But you did, right?
Look, I'm not on trial here, okay?
No. You wouldn't know a real trial if your life depended on it.
And you do?
I might.
Is that your regret?
What's your biggest regret, Jonas? Do I have to go first? Ladies first? Is that what this is?
No, I
What the hell? What is this? Some psychological bullshit? You won't break me, motherfucker. You won't break me.
I was there.
You were where?
I was there. The night the girl died.
No shit. Did you kill her?
No, I couldn't. But I saw her dying, and I froze.
You froze?
I panicked, all right? I've got anxiety.
Shit.
Maybe I could have helped her. I don't know. But her face has haunted me every night since. So there. That's my regret.
3 down, 2 to go. You're left, Nadine and Dante.
Again, this is complete bullshit. I didn't do anything. I've got nothing to regret.
Well, Nadine says you might. Is she lying?
I don't know. I've never seen her face before.
Oh, but you have. Of course, I changed my appearance since then. My hair, the way I dress, lost a little weight. But you would have had to see my face to write the story about me, right?
Look,
I can't tell your regret for you, Dante. I'm guessing it doesn't work that way. But okay. That clock isn't stopping. If I have to save us, I will.
Nadine, you don't have to...
Yes, Jonas? I do. I was driving that night. The night of the accident.
What accident?
The accident. Look, I didn't see her. I don't know why the hell she was walking around in the dark at night. But I didn't see her.
Were you drunk?
I'd had a few drinks. Maybe. But I wasn't drunk. I wasn't reckless. But that's not what you wrote, right, Dante? You twisted the accident into a scandal, saying I was at fault when I wasn't. Made for better copy, right?
I'm a journalist, okay? I write the facts.
Sure you do. The facts always sell, don't they? The facts always sell.
So you regret it?
Of course I regret it. I've spent every day since then wondering if I could have done something differently, even though I was cleared. Even though this piece of shit tried to libel me, I was still cleared. But I'm not cleared up here. I'm never cleared up here. I walked away unharmed. But that girl didn't.
I'm sorry, Nadine. For what it's worth, nobody should have to live with something like that. Nobody.
Thank you, Liam.
Well, that's 4 then. Come on, Dante. You're the last. The clock's going to hit 0 soon. Are you going to tell us your regret? Or are we going to have to beat it out of you?
You wouldn't dare.
Did you write the truth or not, Dante? Did you write the truth or not?
I always wrote...
Tell the truth. That clock's almost 0. I'm not going to die because you can't tell the fucking truth.
No. You don't understand. You don't. All right, I twisted it, all right? I twisted it. It made for better copy. Like you said, I was low man on the totem pole of the paper. I thought I was going to get fired. That story was going to make my career, so I twisted it.
You are a piece of shit.
Guilty as charged, and I got fired from the paper anyway. There's the irony for you, huh?
All right, we all expressed our regret. We passed the test. We passed the test! Let us out!
It's still locked.
At least we didn't get gassed, or the room explodes.
That wouldn't be elegant.
Huh?
I mean, sure, we all get gassed or the room blows up, but that's instant death. That doesn't really provide for any real type of punishment, does it?
Margot, what are you talking about?
Welcome to the Reckoning Room, my own creation.
You?
That's right. That woman you've all been discussing, not realizing, I guess, it was the same woman, my daughter.
Oh, shit. I never met you.
No, you didn't. Like I said, I worked so much to give my daughter a future. But working so much, I never got to meet anyone that was close to her. And I bet she never even showed you a picture of me, did she?
No, I'm so sorry.
Are you? Like you said, your last conversation with my daughter was cross, right?
Yeah.
Sent her out into the dark of the night, running away, running into the road, only to be struck down by someone who didn't see her, someone who didn't know. I didn't know exactly what put her in the road, but now I know. Thank you, Liam.
Margot, I...
That was your daughter I saw? But how the hell did you know it was me?
You're Catholic, right?
How'd you know?
Well, I don't live around here, but when the accident happened, eventually I came to this town, and I got to know people. I got to know your priest, Jonas.
Monsignor Bill?
Yeah. Get a couple of drinks in Monsignor Bill, and you'd be surprised at what he'll tell you. Even stuff that was supposedly under the seal of confession.
Oh, shit.
Just wanted to confirm it, what Monsignor Bill told me in confidence, and you did.
Margot, I'm so sorry. You don't know what I've had to live with.
Have you had to live without a daughter?
No.
No, you have not. How many drinks did you have that night, Nadine? How many?
I don't remember.
I'm sure you don't.
All right. All these pieces of shit, they've got their part in this, but not me. I'm just a journalist. A journalist.
A yellow journalist. In more ways than one. You and your twisted words. You never interviewed me, did you? I stayed out of sight. You didn't even know I existed. What I looked like. But you hurt me. You hurt me. Making my daughter's tragic death into a scandal. Making me relive her death over and over again. Headlines and accusations even after the truth came out.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't know if you truly are, but we'll find out.
What are you going to do with us?
Me? Nothing. You've all expressed your regrets. It's good to get them out in the open, isn't it? But now you'll all figure out how to deal with that regret, with that guilt. I know it looks like a waiting room, but I assure you, no one's waiting. This place is tightly sealed. Had it constructed that way, nobody knows you're here. There's no food or water. Liam, this frail can tell you, even with your manly strength, you'll never break down that door. There's steel behind it.
So you're just going to leave us all here? To die?
Please, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything to your daughter.
Not directly. But you didn't help her, did you? A sin of omission. But don't worry, Jonas. I'm offering you, all of you, absolution. When I go behind this door and it locks behind me, I'm going to leave this gun behind. You'll figure out what to do with it. If you don't, you'll all die here. But if you figure it out, well, one of you gets to leave. One of you. But the rest stay here. Forever. My creation. My test. My punishment. But don't worry. Whatever you decide to do, whichever of you is the one to leave, I promise you, no regrets.
Oh, a sinister look at decisions coming back to bite you there. That was Helen Cheng Mao as Nadine, Aaron Lapaz as Liam, Megan Bickle as Margot, Darren Ingram as Dante, Fred Tacon as Jonas, and Zoe Cheswick as Technology, The Voice, and Intercom. In the Reckoning Room by Brent Alles. So, Naomi, what did you think?
No, I really like this a lot. I thought it was a very unusual way of approaching some really, really interesting material that I feel like I hadn't really seen in theatre so much.
Mm.
Obviously, you can really see like a lot of like the classical influences in it. And I really liked how it kind of almost merged being quite abstract in terms of the setting and the kind of, obviously very non-naturalistic approach,
Mm.
while also being really rooted in a lot of like very, very human kind of experiences of basically trauma. I thought that was really interesting.
Mm. And I love the fact that some of the time when you sing a play, you as the audience are privy to stuff that the other actors on stage don't know. And apart from Margot, obviously, all the actors were on the same page as us. We were discovering the events and what was happening as they did, which I think is a wonderful technique to have because it keeps the audience involved and it keeps them absorbed because if, you blink and you miss something.
Yeah, no, that's a really fascinating thing. Absolutely true. Yeah, it's really, really interesting. It's really interestingly structured as well in terms of like the revelations that come out as you progress through it.
They go through these phases of initially kind of, I haven't done anything, I haven't done anything, I haven't done anything, and then slowly but surely it all starts to unwind until, even Dante is like a staunch, determined, I didn't do anything, just kind of falls apart.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like the characters are very well drawn considering how short it is.
Yeah.
And there definitely feels like there's something psychologically very, very true in the idea of like, even the most shameless people, if you look at, people like Donald Trump or whatever,
Mm.
will deny that they did anything wrong. They'll go like, no, 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 I didn't do anything wrong. And then it reaches a point where like a switch flips
Yeah.
and people will immediately go, well, I did that bad thing, but like, oh, who cares? Or they will try to find a way to like justify it, or they'll play the victim.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's a really interesting, almost like group dynamic kind of going on where it's like where one person starts confessing, kind of starts everybody else off.
Mm. I find it really interesting the fact that Dante's looking at this purely as a journalist, and he's right, drama and intrigue does sell newspapers, even if you do have to twist the facts for it. That's unfortunately the media world that we live in. If I was coming away from having seen this on stage, I would be sat there in the pub with probably several students or several friends going, okay, but was he right to twist it? Because he was just doing his job. I know Margot will never see it that way because obviously it was her, unfortunately her daughter that died. But from a purely outside perspective, you can look at this through so many different sets of eyes and come
Yeah.
up with many different conclusions as to how you think it should have gone.
Yeah, no, exactly. And the idea of like Margot, like, is she this kind of avenging angel, or is she just someone who's like absolutely torn apart by grief, or is she just, equally a monster, like who is morally in the right? It's a huge thing.
Because even she confesses to the point where she hadn't been around for her daughter as much as she should have been.
Mm.
And part of me thought, well, maybe that's part of why she's doing this. She can't, you know, her own guilt is eating her up so much that she needs to kind of lay it on the doors of other people, and that's why she's brought them together in this way. I also do absolutely adore that ending because it leaves a billion and four ways that this could go. There are so many different ways that after that door is shut that this could end. And
Yeah.
I think letting the audience have that at the back of their mind is a brilliant twist by the playwright, personally.
Yeah, no, I thought the ending like massively, massively elevate. I mean, the concept was really good. Like I like the concept, but like reading it, it definitely reminded me of like Agatha Christie's And Then There Were
Mm.
None.
Mm.
But obviously that had like a very definitive ending. And there's been a million, books, movies, whatever, using like the format of Then There Were None. I mean, obviously that's a bit different because they were actually being killed, but I feel
Yeah.
with this, like the ending really kind of almost deconstructs that as like a trope.
Mm.
And the idea of, that it's not like just like one person kind of going around killing everybody. But yeah, like and you can really easily see how this could be extended into something much longer as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Um, and I love the fact that in the end, it's their decision.
Yeah.
Like, because it would be very easy for her to shut the door and then just kill them all outright, leaving Margot as the main villain. But by leaving it open and making it their decision, essentially she's allowing them to make mistakes all over again.
Yeah.
And while, she may have no regrets, whoever comes out of that room alive is definitely going to have them.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, what choices do you make in the moment that you don't necessarily think I'm going to have to live with this choice for the rest of my life?
Mm.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You never look at like the tiny decisions you make. Like we all have arguments with our significant others.
Yeah,
We
sure.
all see or potentially hear of something bad happening, and don't help as much as we should, or are scared, are worried about helping or getting involved. But you don't think how that's going to play out. You don't even like comprehend the idea of it coming back to haunt you.
Yeah, and the idea of, putting those people in a situation at the end where one of them is going to have to actively, consciously do something terrible to
Mm.
survive
Yeah,
and then walk away, with that guilt, maybe,
yeah,
unless they're a psychopath. I mean, who knows how
yeah.
it's going to affect them long term.
See, the ultimate question is, who do you think is coming out of that room alive?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's very interesting. And is Margot telling the truth? Like we're assuming she is.
Yeah,
Maybe she's not. Maybe it's all a trick.
yeah, maybe. Oh, that'd be an amazing twist.
Hmm.
It's like they televise all sorts of nonsense on the online on television these days. This would make a very interesting reality TV show. Very awful, but very interesting. I asked myself this question about who I think would come out, and I think just because of how long it took him to at least acknowledge his wrongdoing, I think Dante wouldn't have any issues taking out the
Hmm.
others, because he I think he's got a little bit of like rose-tinted glasses as far as his own involvement is concerned. He sees himself as a journalist. He was just doing his job. Everyone else twists the
Hmm.
facts to sell newspapers. So I think that kind of thinking will stand him in good stead in the sense that, I'm doing this to survive.
Hmm.
Um, Not to mention, if he does come out of this alive, he'll probably end up writing a book and making a fortune.
No, I was just thinking that, like, is he going to turn it into content? And does being a journalist mean that he has the capacity to, like, narrativize it in a way that
Mm,
casts himself somehow as the victim?
yeah.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
But again, this is one of those like 8 million different ways that this could go. And as I say, if you saw this live, and then went to the pub afterwards, I imagine people could talk about it for quite some time, which I think always makes good theatre.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be really curious to see something that's this extended a little bit longer. I think I'd be
Mm.
really interested in that.
Okay, we are almost out of time. Naomi, your final thoughts on the piece as a whole?
But really, really different than anything I was expecting. I didn't know where it was going to go. Really intrigued to learn more about this playwright and see what else they've written or what else they're going to do in the future. Hopefully have the opportunity to maybe, see this piece staged at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, we are unfortunately out of time. Naomi, thank you so much for joining me and discussing this brilliant play.
Thank you so much for having me and for introducing me to this brilliant play.
And that is all the time we have for on this episode of Theatrical Shenanigans. I hope you enjoyed my chat with Naomi and Brent's thrilling play, as we certainly appreciated you for listening. As always, if you've enjoyed this episode, then make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram so you never miss a new episode announcement. You can also follow us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts and Spotify so you're always aware when a new episode is posted. We're all back in 2 weeks with another new episode, so I hope you can join us then. But in the meantime, though, I've been Rachel Feeney Williams, this is Theatrical Shenanigans, bringing down the curtain and saying, I hope you can join us next time. Theatrical Shenanigans is part of an RFW Scripts production, found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts and Podbean. Theme music is written and produced by Chris Cody.